Hi there, and today we're looking at the Space series of collectible minifigures coming in 2024. Now, a series of space-themed collectible minifigures has been rumoured for quite a while now, and although it hasn't officially been announced, floating around on the internet there is now a list of 12 minifigures and a rather fuzzy picture of what we're going to get. Now, in amongst them there's a lot of classic space themes, so if you're a classic space fan you're going to want to watch to the end and see all the goodies that LEGO are going to give us. Now, the first one is titled Robot Human Suit for Tiny Aliens, and you can see we get a regular minifigure. However, you can see his face has been replaced by some sort of screen, and there are two tiny nano figures which are obviously the tiny aliens, and one is obviously inside his head driving him along. Now, when I first saw this, two things immediately sprung to mind. The first one was the upscaled minifigure set we got earlier on this year, where you had a giant minifigure being driven by a regular sized minifigure inside his hat, and also the scene from the original Men in Black film where they discovered what they thought was a regular human being was actually a human robot being piloted by a tiny alien. I'm not sure if Men in Black is where they got their idea from, but I do like that we've got a new printed nano figure, and the hairpiece with the antenna sticking out the top is absolutely superb. The second minifigure is titled Classic Space Robot. Now, this robot is holding a frying pan and a whisk, and it's difficult to see on his torso if he's actually got a Classic Space logo, so I'm wondering if the term Classic Space here is not referring to Classic Space Lego, but more the Classic Space genre, and a robot from the likes of Lost in Space or Forbidden Planet. But whichever it is, you can see he hasn't got regular minifigure legs. He's got this quite cool pair with these ridges down the sides, and what looks like wheels or rollers on his feet. So this one's quite a nice figure, but probably not one of my favourites of the series. Number 3 in the series is called Retro Spacewoman, and she's got this great azure, pink and lavender outfit, and for some reason unknown to me also has a bulldog with her. Now, she's meant to be the female version of the Retro Spaceman in series 17, as they're both in that classic vintage sci-fi style from things like Flash Gordon. The shape of her helmet is very similar style to the Retro Spaceman, but I'm still not quite sure why she's got a pet bulldog. If you can think of a reason, please let me know. Number 4 is called Mtron Redux, and for those of you who don't know, Mtron was a series in 1990 and 1991 which was one of the sub-themes of classic space, and it only ever had one minifigure in it. And you can see this guy has a classic red Mtron torso with logo on it. He's got a modernised black helmet, he's holding a piece of space equipment, and it looks like he's got a jetpack on. Moving away from the plain white legs with black hips of the original, he's got what looks like dual modded red and white legs. Number 5 is called Alien in UFO Costume. When I saw this title, I thought it was going to be similar to previous collectible minifigures, where we've had various minifigures wearing boats or planes or cars, but this time they moved the costume up to his neckline, so he's just got his head in his spaceship, and he's got this fantastic black torso and legs with stars and constellations printed on them, and I'm sure that torso and legs are going to be very popular, and although it's not one of the classic LEGO themes, amongst the 12 this is one of my favourites. And at number 6 we've got Grey Alien Tourist. Now, I love this one. I think it's really funny that an alien is desperately trying to blend in on Earth, and just by putting on a hat and a Hawaiian shirt, obviously no one's going to recognise him. Now, we've had a classic grey alien before in Collectible Minifigures Series 6, but this one seems to have the short legs and is looking more childlike compared to the original, so maybe the adult grey aliens are much better at blending in, and this is one of their children's first attempt at trying to blend in with humans and clearly failing miserably. At number 7 we've got Alien Insectoid. Now, he's got a large moulded headpiece with many eyes on it. It's looking like he's in dark blue, and maybe there's a cape behind him, but he hasn't got regular minifigure legs, but he's using the part that LEGO in the past has used for fantasy creatures like fawns. Now, this one's quite nice, but it's probably one of my least favourites of the series. Now, at number 8 we've got what's called Modern Astronaut. So out of the 12, the other 11 seem to be fantasy based, but this one is obviously based more in the real world. He's got that classic look of what we all think modern astronauts look like. He's wearing a large jetpack with control pads by each hand, but it's difficult to see the print on his torso, but I'm not sure if that's a classic space logo, but it's definitely not a NASA logo. So if you're making real life space mocks, I would imagine the minifig astronaut in the Apollo 11 lunar lander set would be more useful than this one. So if you're into your fantasy space minifigures, this one's probably not for you. And at number 9, it's another classic space theme. We've got Ice Planet Redux with Space Penguin. Now, the Ice Planet theme came out in 1993 and 1994 and was actually called Ice Planet 2002. Now, back in the early 90s, 2002 was obviously very futuristic, but unfortunately we're 20 years past that point now and we still don't have space penguins. Now, Ice Planet was a great theme. We only ever got 3 different minifigures and 2 of those shared the same torso, but I really liked its colour scheme, especially the use of the transparent neon orange. Now, the new version has identical colour scheme on his torso and legs. He's got a white and transparent orange helmet like the originals, although it's very modernised, and he's got a transparent orange chainsaw, which were very common in Ice Planet sets. We don't know what his face is going to look like underneath that helmet, but I think I'm definitely going to have to get more of these to make a collar colony of small space penguins. And with 3 more to go, number 10 is another classic space theme, and we've got Mutated Blacktron. Now, if you're not familiar with the original Blacktron theme, you may remember that last year there was a gift with purchase called Blacktron Cruiser, and the minifigure in that set was a reissue of the original Blacktron theme in 1987. However, this guy looks nothing like that guy, and that's because 4 years later there was a second Blacktron theme, and the minifigures in that look very different to their original counterparts. Instead of being all black, they were mainly white with a large logo on their torso. And you can see the Mutated Blacktron minifigure has got the same logo on the chest, and I'm really interested to see he's got what looks like a transparent green leg. So he's obviously mutated with some form of lizard creature, as you can see on the texture on the leg with the toes as well on the foot, and he may also have a transparent green arm. Now, I think Blacktron 1 and 2 are really cool themes, but we only ever got one minifigure from each of them, so I think it's really cool that LEGO have reimagined it for this series. Now, moving away from classic LEGO space themes, number 11 is called Orion with translucent parts. Now, I love any minifigures with translucent parts, and it looks like this one is predominantly transparent light blue. He's definitely got transparent legs and head and hair, maybe arms too, and we've definitely got transparent versions of all those parts before. However, I don't think we've ever had a transparent torso before, and personally, even though it's very blurred, it looks like this torso isn't transparent either. Now, most people know that Orion is a constellation of stars. Now, the constellation's distinctive characteristic are these 3 stars along his belt, and coincidentally that also gets mentioned in Men in Black 1, where they say the universe can be found along Orion's belt. And the ancient mariners who used constellations as navigation joined these stars up to make Orion the hunter, and that's the pattern you can see on this minifigure's shield. So even though it's not a LEGO classic theme, I'm really excited about this minifigure for all the transparent minifig parts. And finally, with number 12, LEGO really know what classic space fans want, and we have Space Nurse with pink Space Baby. Now, in Series 24 we got the brown classic spaceman, and with that we got a blue Space Baby, so it's really cool that in this series we're getting its pink counterpart. And whereas in Series 24 the brown astronaut and the baby were both very sought after, I think with this series less people will be actually after the Space Nurse, and they'll be clamouring for this one just to get the pink Space Baby. But I envisage lots of people making mocks of space nurseries with a whole variety of pink and blue space babies in them. And there we have the complete series. If LEGO stick to their normal collectible minifigure release schedule, these should be out late spring, early summer, probably about May or June. And I think if you like any variety of space theme, there should be a minifigure in this series that you're gonna like. Out of the classic themes, I definitely love the throwbacks to Mtron, Blacktron and Ice Planet, but I also really like that black constellation torso and legs on the UFO costume. And of course, everyone's favourite is gonna be the pink Space Baby. Let me know what your favourite one is in the comments below. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and of course, please subscribe for more LEGO videos.